Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer, excuse me, 55551, and I am back with basically a review slash thoughts. And this one, I'm going to be taking a look at Nvidia's GeForce Now. This is their gaming streaming service that is available on iMac, but it's also available on PC, Androids, and the Nvidia Shield. Plus, I want to give my thoughts on the Sonic movie, which I just recently saw, which I would say, kind of surprised me a little bit, though. Now, as we've been seeing lately, there's been a lot of push for the whole idea of game streaming or cloud gaming and so forth. The idea of playing, your video games across, the internet, through an Ethernet or Wi-Fi and all that stuff. And we've seen some products like OnLive, which try to make that attempt to be kind of like the pioneer of it, not really meeting the success, and I think that got bought out and so forth. And then, of course, last year we saw basically Google make their attempt with the Google Stadia, which, while some people seem to have liked it, it didn't really sit well with everyone. There were missing features. There were also people who were having latency, if I'm saying that correctly, issues and so forth. So there were certain areas that, well, not everybody was kind of pleased with and so forth. So, but it's still here right now. It's been and as of right now, I think the free 3 months that were there has now certainly been up right now for those who got the Founders Pack. Whether they renew it for Stadia or not remains to be seen. In the meantime, Nvidia has released basically what their gaming streaming service, which is GeForce Now. Now, this has been in for beta for quite a while and all that stuff, so it recently got released in February, and I recently got a chance to try it out. I first tried out a little bit of the free edition before I decided to pay $5 a month for the Founders Edition, which gets you like a 6-hour session, ray tracing, and so forth. Although they're claiming it's a limited time, and it'll be interesting to see if they stick with that $5 on that stuff. And I will say that my experience with Nvidia GeForce Now, at least playing it on the iMac, has been positive. I mean, I've had a very good experience, and the fact that I could play some of these games on my iMac is really good. However, like anything, there is some hiccups to it, though. So we'll get started with the pros and cons, and we'll start with the first one, the pros. Basically, as far as the pros go, as I mentioned earlier, you do have two options, though. A paid option or a free option. Unlike the Stadia one, where basically you have to, if you get the Founders Edition, you have to basically not only pay $10 a month, but you also have to buy the games itself, although there's supposedly a free option, but who knows when that will be out. Nvidia, with the GeForce Now, offers you both the free or the paid option. The free option will give you basically a 1-hour game session and so forth. You'll see like a little timer over there to see how long you have. Although supposedly you can, once your timer's up, you can go back in and all that stuff. But with the paid option, which currently stands at $5 a month, you basically you do get in front of the line, though, so you could cut in front of everyone else. You get a 6-hour session, and you get basically ray tracing and all that stuff, and you get the first 3 months are like free before they bill you and all that stuff. So I do like the fact that they're offering you a pay option or free option, though. That's really nice. I think it's great for those who want to try out the free option and see how well that turns out and all that stuff. So it is really a nice thing that for Nvidia to do, at least with this one. The next one is basically what Nvidia is doing. See, unlike, say, Stadia, where they have a storefront and all that stuff and you have to buy from them, Nvidia's approach is a little bit different with GeForce Now. Here, any games you have on Steam, UPlay, or Epic, you could play it through the GeForce Now. I mean, they'll show you the list of games that they have, or at least you type in the games what you're looking for, and if it's a game that's on that list and all that stuff, you can play it. Like, for example, if you have Sniper Elite 4 on your PC, or you have it on Steam, you could play it through Nvidia's GeForce Now. So now, not every game is going to be there. I'll get to the cons about that one as well. But the fact that you can play your games from Steam, UPlay, and Epic is really nice, because the way I see them approaching it is that it's another option for those who want like the idea of gaming on PC, but for those who may have a hard time, with the whole setting up the PC, or if you have like a Mac like I have and so forth. So it's really a nice approach that they're doing with this. And last but not least is the Wi-Fi. This is the one area where some people may or may not like. Basically, you can play this through an internet. They'll have basically their basic requirement. I do have a link in the description as far as the system requirements go. But as far as playing this on my Wi-Fi, I have to say it's been very well. I mean, I've been able to hit pretty much 1080p 60 frames per second. Again, everyone's experience is going to be different, make no mistake though, but as far as my experience goes, based on playing it on the Wi-Fi though, it's been pretty good. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get to part 2, the cons, and of course I want to give my thoughts on the Sonic movie. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of our video review / thought of Nvidia's GeForce Now. That is Nvidia's new game streaming / or cloud streaming service. So now that I gave you the pros, why don't we get started with the cons? And we'll start off with the first con, and that has to do with the Wi-Fi. Now, as I mentioned earlier, though, I mentioned how the Wi-Fi, how the thing, or the game streaming service, how about to say that, worked well on my Wi-Fi, and for the majority of time, it did work. However, like anything, though, it's going to depend on how solid your Wi-Fi is. Some people are going to have a good experience, others are going to have a bad experience. And while my experience with it playing on Wi-Fi, it was good, there were moments where I did see some stuttering and a dip in frame rates and all that stuff. Not a huge dip, it didn't last too long, but it could be an issue for those who are playing like certain games like multiplayer. Single player, not as much, but it is still can be noticeable. But again, a lot of that will depend on how solid your Wi-Fi is. And so far, I will say, like I mentioned earlier, my Wi-Fi seemed to be on my Wi-Fi. It worked fine, but for others, they may have a good experience or they may have a negative experience. But it is worth pointing out, it supports both Wi-Fi and Ethernet, though. The next one, and this one has to do mostly with those who have Apple products and all that stuff. And while Nvidia GeForce Now supports Android and all that stuff, unfortunately, at this time, there is no iPad or iPhone support, which honestly, for me, it's kind of a bit of a disappointment. Now, I don't know whether this is on Apple's side or whether this is on Nvidia's side or both sides, though. But I think it is unfortunate the fact that there is no iPhone and iPad support. I really think GeForce Now would really benefit from that. I know I do remember, excuse me, I do remember hearing you can use your MacBook and all that, so they'll have a list of what MacBooks work on their system requirements, but it is a little disappointment to see there is no iPhone or iPad support. Hopefully they'll do that down the road, but right now, it's not there at the moment. And last but not least, and this one's probably the big one, is that not all the games are going to be available on GeForce Now. Now, there are going to be certain games that may or may not be there as well. So, before you decide to go on a shopping street on Steam or anything like that, you may want to check to make sure the game is also on GeForce Now. Like, for example, they have Saints Row 4 on GeForce Now, but they don't have Saints Row 3 or Agents of Mayhem. And if the game is not there, that means you won't be able to use GeForce Now on that stuff. To top it all off, we also had the situation with Activision Blizzard, I'm sure most of you are aware of, and just recently Bethesda started to pull some of their games off of GeForce Now and all that stuff. And that's, I think, one of the big issue, and it's not only with GeForce Now, but with cloud gaming and streaming in general. The whole ownership issue starts popping up, and that's kind of the big concern right there, that of the whole service, and that could, I think, hurt excuse me, hurt cloud gaming in general. So that's really one of the big hurdles with GeForce Now. There is a bright spot. We know that CD Projekt Red is going to bring Cyberpunk 2077 on launch day to use for GeForce Now, which certainly will sit nice for a lot of people, though. So, but that's sort of the big hurdle with the whole GeForce Now. Also, I really, added to this one as well, I really think Nvidia should do a better job trying to announce what games are coming to GeForce Now. They said that they have over 1,000 games and more are coming, but I think they should do a better job communicating what games are going to be available on GeForce Now or what new games are coming. Overall, I have to say GeForce Now, at least playing it on my iMac though, I would say my experience has been positive though. I do like the fact that they offer a free or a pay option on that stuff. And I do like the approach that Nvidia is working on with GeForce Now. The idea is that it's not going in the direction of what Google Stadia is. It's more like another option if you like the idea of gaming on PC, but you either have a Mac or you don't know exactly what parts you need to get and so forth. So this certainly is a good option for some people. Again, like anything with Wi-Fi, sometimes you may have a good experience or a bad experience. So some people may have a hard time using GeForce Now. Others may have a good time. The fact that there's no iPhone and iPad support is a little bit unfortunate. And I do think the biggest one is the ownership issue, especially with Activision, Blizzard, and Bethesda. I think that is one of the big sticking points. And I'm hoping that Nvidia or whatever can address this problem, because I will say I like the direction Nvidia is going in terms of cloud gaming in general. I like this approach more than what Google is doing, because what they're offering is, hey, here's another option if you want to play PC games, but you don't either you only have a Mac, or don't have a huge amount of knowledge of what PC parts to get and so forth. So I will say my experience with Nvidia GeForce Now has been positive. I'm hoping they could iron out some areas, and I'm hoping in the long run we could see GeForce Now, still be around and all that stuff. I will say, as far as cloud gaming goes, I like the direction that Nvidia is going with it. Alright, before I end this video, I want to get my thoughts on the Sonic the Hedgehog movie that just came out. Now, I'm sure most of you remember the first trailer last year with the hideous looking Sonic and all that stuff. That hit the internet, and a lot of people just thought it was bad. And honestly, I do have to agree with them. That was a horrible design. The fact that you had fan art that could do a better job than what this did, than what they did when they showed that first trailer, yeah. But, however, they chose to decide to delay the movie, to redesign Sonic, give him the proper look that he gave, and when they showed off the new trailer, it definitely showed that they did a better job with Sonic than before. That said, I still wasn't sure about the story or anything like that, because mostly some of this has to do with movies based off of video games don't have the greatest reputation and so forth. So I recently got a chance to see this, and honestly, I was kind of surprised. I mean, it was actually good. I mean, it's not going to blow you away or anything like that, but they actually did a good job with this movie. I am kind of surprised, though. I thought Jim Carrey did a great job playing Dr. Robotnik and all that stuff, and the way he acted kind of gave off a little bit of an Ace Ventura vibe in a certain degree. And I will have to say, the movie didn't feel, even though this movie was sort of targeted towards like families and kids, it didn't feel like it was so dumbed down or anything like that. Even as a 38-year-old man, I was still able to sit in the theater and be entertained by it. It wasn't felt like it was too kiddie or anything like that. And They also did some reference to like the old Sonic games as well. They also showed off the rings, the world that Sonic was from. Definitely got a little bit of that Green Hill vibe to it, even though there's a village in or town in Montana called Green Hill. So I thought they did a really good job with it, with this movie, and I definitely am open towards a sequel. I think this and Detective Pikachu shows that movies based off of video games can work if you get the right writers, the right people, the right actors to really fit the role very well. And I am open to seeing a sequel, and I'm open to seeing maybe other Sega properties become movies as well. Like, I wouldn't mind a Shinobi, Streets of Rage, or Golden Axe. Somewhat mixed with Skies of Arcadia and Valkyrie Chronicles. I would love to see a movie version of that, but I'm not sure about a live action one. I like the manga art style that Valkyrie Chronicles had, so I'm not sure about that. Maybe an approach similar to what Castlevania is on Netflix and all that stuff. But I would say my overall impression for the Sonic movie, it's good. It was better than I thought it was going to be, though, and I certainly am open for a sequel. Hopefully we'll see other characters pop up, like Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Cream, Rose, or Rogue, Shadow, or Big. So hopefully we'll see other characters pop up, maybe in the sequel or in another, like maybe a Sonic 3 if they do that. So overall, I would say this kind of surprised me a bit, and I thought the Sonic movie was good, at least in my book. Okay, this concludes this video slash thoughts of, or review slash thoughts of Nvidia's GeForce Now. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about Nvidia GeForce Now? Do you agree with the approach Nvidia is going with cloud streaming? Do you think this is the right approach? Do you think this is the wrong approach? Do you think some of the games like from Activision Blizzard and Bethesda, do you think that could damage GeForce Now? Do you think it brings up the whole issue of the ownership and so forth? And what are your thoughts about, say, the Sonic movie? Did you see the Sonic movie? Do you think the movie was actually good? Do you think the critics were wrong about it? Do you think this opens the door to possibly other video game movies, other movies based off of video games, maybe doing well and all that stuff? Do you think we're past the point of video game movies suck, or do you don't think we're not there yet? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think, and I hope you hit that like button. I would appreciate it, and I hope you do subscribe to my if you like the video, hit the like button, and I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You can do it through PayPal me or Patreon. Links will be in the description of this video. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, wish you all a good day then. Bye!